are listening to the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the internet.
Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website. And that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And support is never expected and always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. And there are many ways to support the show. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and a few other items with designs made by friends of the show. And of course, there's always the option, if you would like to do so, to donate through PayPal. And speaking of friends of the show, please follow friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show on Saturdays, whenever she's able to join me. And also Ricky of the Anything is Possible podcast, who does a paranormal-themed show on Sundays that I co-host. And also Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, which I co-host a lot as well, whenever I'm able, and the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, where you can find all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own, online 24/7 for free. So let me get to these true stories here. Thanks to everyone who listens in, and without you all your listening in and giving ideas and sharing experiences, and those of you that have been on the show, you all help to get the show get to over 1,000 episodes, which I really appreciate. So let me get to this first of these true stories here. Yeah, I really enjoy being on Ricky's show with him, and then also on Mike's show with him as well on Troubled Minds Radio. It's nice for me because I get to talk about the things I enjoy talking about, but without having to run everything, all the technical side of everything. So it really is nice to be part of those shows when I'm able to join them. And so yeah, if for whatever reason my shows aren't enough, you're not tired of hearing me talk after listening to all my shows, you can always check me out in those shows too. But anyway, this first one here says, does anyone know what this could be? It was around 6 feet tall, black, skinny creature with long arms to around its knees. I was taking my trash out at around 8, and I saw it kind of look at me. Excuse me, I saw a flash of red. I'm assuming that was its eyes. And it ran like a penguin towards the trees. But when it ran across the road through the small streetlights, it was still a very dark black color. It didn't look like it had fur, so I'm lost as to what it could be. Any guesses? And that's where that one ends. It's a short one, but it's fascinating because it's always amazing when you hear about these sightings of these tall figures. It's fascinating because I've heard, of course, there is the possibility it was just a shadow, but then I've heard that some Bigfoot or Sasquatch can appear very much shadow-like, just very like a dark form. And you can't always see their features depending on the light, but they did point out this figure, whatever it was still dark when it ran under the streetlights. which is fascinating as well. So I'm not sure what they saw. It sounds like it could have been a shadow figure. Shadow figures do not always vanish or fade when they are around light. I've heard of, in some cases, daytime shadow figure sightings or sightings of them in places where the lights are still on. So I'm not sure what that means, but I've heard of these kinds of accounts. So it's not unheard of, not super rare as far as within this realm of people's experiences. The red, it could have been the eyes. It could have just been light that it gave off for whatever reason for a brief moment. I'd be curious, and of course, there's no way because this is just a post. I'd be curious to know, was the light, did it come from near the top of this figure or not? Because if it was near the top, then maybe that increases the odds it was this being's eyes. But there are accounts people have with seeing strange figures with lights coming from their chest, or just coming from around them, and either being there the whole time or just flashing or coming and going. So I'm not sure. I can't rule anything out when it comes to this. Wondering if it doesn't say that they saw them again, so that's good. Anyway, I'm not sure. Moving on to this next one here. This one is a little bit longer. Oh, that's right. So this is an amazing one because this, to me, I remember this one now. I don't always remember these when I find them, or after I don't remember them when I'm reading them on the show right away. But I remember this one, and this is a longer one, and this just sounds like someone who is sensitive, even if the area they're talking about here is active. There's just so much. But anyway, let me read this all so you can be filled in on what I'm talking about here. This one says, for many years, I have driven a four-wheeler, or what most would call an ATV. Last year or the year before that, I rode around my grandma's and dad's property. I rode around the empty field with nothing but tall grass. Not super tall, just tall. I rode counterclockwise around this field. I rode around it from anywhere between 6:30 to midnight. I've seen weird things I can only label as paranormal. I've seen figures in the road, in the woods, in the air, and in the field. In the road, I saw a figure who just stared at the field. If I drove too slow at that section, she would be closer. If I sped by, she stayed directly in the middle of the road. The field is on a hill bank beside the main road, and the road has no lamppost. Near the woods, I've seen what I call an earth spirit in the clearing of the four-wheeler trails in the woods, just watching me. I really wish they would have described more of that figure, but anyway. Also at this field, there was an old church bus that no longer worked, just broken down and parked there. Behind it was an old trailer. Sometimes when I rode around there, I heard a clown laughing, and sometimes saw a figure of a clown, a clown face, peeking out of the broken window. No, thank you. That's me adding that. Anyway, behind my grandma's double-wide trailer, I've seen a tall black shadow standing adjacent to the lamppost back there. The shadow, the shadow being was taller than the lamppost, which is That's amazing. Because you think of lampposts, usually they're pretty tall. Anyway, beside her double wide was, okay, there we go, was another field that had really tall grass and shrubs. In that field, I've seen a tall white shadow. And again, people say that. I think they just mean a tall white figure. A month or so after this, I was sitting on the couch in my grandma's living room. I looked up from my phone out through the window and saw a shadow of a lady figure dressed in Victorian clothing, rush past the window. A month after I saw her there, I saw her standing by the main field I rode around. Then, just last, that's my spot. There we go. Then, just last Friday, I was in my grandma's kitchen. I saw a shadow walk from the porch through the wall and into the living room. I went to see if the shadow had left, and it had. One last thing I saw on the road was like a phantom car that looked like an SUV that drove slowly by as I was riding the four-wheeler. Then I saw it slow as I neared the driveway. Could this be actually paranormal or just illusions? I have tried to communicate to the shadow I dubbed the Victorian lady, who did not answer, just watched. And that's where that one ends, as if any portion of that isn't enough. Like I said, even if this area that they're talking about has activity in it, I don't know. Either it's extremely active to the point where, but see, they don't say that their grandma and their dad have had experiences, so I'm not sure what to make of that. That's a lot of things to be seeing, both outside and inside buildings. It's really fascinating. There's just so much there, and I know that maybe to some people who have only had like one or experience or two experiences in their entire lifetime, this may seem like it's too much to be realistic or too much to be possible. However, myself, I have an experience here or there, like once a week, usually around there. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but around there. Let's just say, for an example, there are people I've heard of and heard on shows, and people I've talked to over the years, who have experiences with that they can't explain or that are with other beings, other consciousness, basically every day, throughout the day, that make my own case make me look like I have hardly any experiences. Everything is sort of, I guess you could say, everything is relative when it comes to these things. Yes, there are people that have one experience or two experiences ever. Some people have none. And then there's some people that have them fairly often, and there's some that, like I just said, have them every day. They live with these experiences just constantly. So it's really fascinating to find these kinds of accounts, because this seems like it's fairly frequent. And again, because of everything I've heard and read and all the people I've talked to, I can't say that that can't be. Moving on to the next one here. This one says, almost 2 years ago, I was at my ex's house in Sheffield in the UK. I don't know if the veil there is thinner, whatnot. I'm from London, but basically one evening I was alone in his room because he went to a volleyball game match with his older brother. It was dark outside, and I saw headlights from a car pull up. Excuse me. I looked outside the window, and I saw my ex's brother's car. It's red. It's quite hard to miss. Park in the front bit right in front of the door. I saw his brother get out of the car and go up to the door. So I assumed they were back and coming inside. And I sat back down. Then I looked again after a while because my ex still didn't come to his room. And the car was gone. No one was there. Then half an hour later, they turned up, and I asked, "Where did you go?" They were both confused, and after I told them what I saw, they mocked me. It's always sad. I asked their mom because I was genuinely getting annoyed, as I thought they were gaslighting me, but she confirmed they never came back earlier. It's been almost 2 years, and it's still messing with me. What the heck did I see? That's where that one ends. I'm wondering if this person here saw a glimpse into another point in time. And I wonder about that because this person, they didn't see their ex get out of the vehicle along with their ex's brother. They only saw the brother come back. And I'm just wondering, does that mean they were seeing a different point in time? And that just happened to, for a moment, overlap, or a few moments overlap. And that's what happened, because that just, it's odd that the brother was the only one that got out of the car. So, and this is, time anomalies to me are really fascinating. They can possibly explain so many anomalous experiences. Alongside of course, I do think that ghosts or spirits exist. I'm not saying they don't. But there are just cases where it seems almost like time makes more sense in a way, which is, it's hilarious to say that a time anomaly makes more sense than a ghost or a spirit. But in some cases, to me anyway, and I've heard from others as well say similar things, it seems like it does make more sense. I always think about this when I come across accounts of people who hear a loved one or someone that they're living with talking or call their name or whatever in their home or wherever they're staying at, and they go and look or they answer and there's no one there. I always wonder, are they just hearing someone or this person, I'm sorry, from another time? And because, you know, a lot of cases people get freaked out, which I understand, and they think, oh my gosh, there's a mimic in my home, in our space, even though they haven't seen anything. And so often mimics have this otherworldly quality to them where they are frightening or disturbing to the person that sees them. But in these cases where it's just a sound, or it is some rare cases I have found, people do see their relatives or people they're living with going about their regular business, and they don't get any weird feeling from them other than the fact that they can't explain why it happened. So it's an odd thing, and but I do wonder how much of what we experience is just time acting in ways that we can't explain as of now. Anyway, let me get to this next one here. We'll get through at least one more. This is a longer one, so probably might be the last one. This one says, "This just happened to me a couple hours ago. I worked from home today. My son went to the babysitter at 9. I worked solid from 9 till 1:30, came downstairs, had lunch, checked my emails, and then went to go fold clothes. I was standing in the bedroom listening to a podcast. folding towels. My back was to the bedroom door. I saw my husband come in, walk past the foot of the bed, and go into the bathroom. Totally normal. Does that all the time. Also, this is hilarious because I never plan the order of these posts that I share. I share them in the order that I find them. And yeah, just I'm going to leave it there for now. And you'll see why I'm saying that here as we go through this experience. Getting back to the reading here, it says, I thought about asking him to put the basket of towels away for me when my friend called me. I picked up and talked to her for a bit. Then I realized it had been a few minutes, since my husband went to the bathroom. I had some things to put away in there, so I headed in. He wasn't there. Turned out he never was. He never came into the room while I was folding clothes. He was downstairs on the treadmill since before I ever even started folding clothes. He was also wearing completely different clothes. When I saw him, he was in a blue tank top and gray pants. But when he got off the treadmill, he had on a black t-shirt and plaid pants. Absolutely no idea what happened or what it was. The dogs saw something too, but they didn't freak out. Just lifted their heads, then went right back to sleeping. I don't know if I'm losing my mind or what, but it freaked me out. That's where that one ends. And here again, we have a possible example of some kind of a weird time anomaly of some kind, where this person saw their husband from another point in time, whether it's the past or the future, going into the bathroom. It was him, but not him at that present moment. Because at that present moment, he was down on the treadmill. I would say doppelganger, but again, they vanished. He wasn't in the bathroom when she went in there a few minutes later, and he never came out. And so it's just really odd. The only other thing I can think of with that is some kind of astral projection. He was thinking maybe at the time about going to use the bathroom, but didn't have to. But somehow projected to that room. But still, he didn't do that. So I don't know. That's the thing with all this, is there's so many possibilities as to what could be going on there. And I think one of them that is still sort of not widely talked about, from what I've heard anyway, is the possibility of a time anomaly. But again, I don't know this for sure. I think it's just something that should also be in there, considered as one of the possible explanations. And I say possible because in the end, we still really don't know for sure. But yeah, so that's going to do it for the stories for this episode. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and please always, as I always say, follow all the links, follow all the friends of the shows, and yeah, thank you for being here, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.